Hello and welcome to this little draw with me video where I'm gonna be drawing some eyes and showing the process and talking about it. So for this drawing I decided to use the symmetry tool so that I could draw on both sides at once. I have a whole video on the symmetry tool and how to use it, so I will be putting that in the description if you're interested. The drawing was made in Procreate, as you can tell, and I found a reference on Google that I'm not really following. I just wanted to remember all the parts that eyes have. In the beginning of this video I used the round brush in the painting section, but then I decided to change, and I do change the brushes a lot through the process because I didn't really know what I wanted. Here I'm using Spectra from the painting section, and I think I ultimately went with that one for most of the drawing process. So I start by mapping out the features with the blush color just to see where I want the eyes to be and the nose. This is something that I do with a lot of my portrait drawings and other drawings that I want to look more painterly, or when I'm lazy and tired and don't feel like doing line art, which is the part that I hate the most. And here I'm putting in some shadows to make it look a bit more three-dimensional. So I put that around the eyes to sort of carve them out, and then around the cheeks. And I do that until I feel like it is carved out enough, and then I can put it in the darkest lines, which are technically the line art, but not really. And here I draw in the shape of the eyes, sort of just following the already carved out eyes that I made with the eye whites. Then I shape out the eyebrows real quick, nothing fancy, they're really bushy, and I sort of fix them later on. My process is a bit messy, and I kind of just do what I feel like needs to be done in the order that I feel like doing. So here I'm sort of just adding more color and some highlights, brightening up the face. And then I blend it all together with the smudge tool and brown brush. I actually drew this drawing after work, so I was pretty tired, and that's why I sort of went with the easiest choice to draw, which were eyes. I've also been wanting to try out different styles lately, so I wanted to try something new, even though in the beginning of the process it's all pretty standard for me, but then I later on go with some lines that you will see that is a bit more experimental. So here I'm working on the eyes, making them a bit more three-dimensional and a bit more detailed. I go back to them later actually and get them even better. Here I'm shading the whites of the eyes and darkening up the eye shape. And then I start working on the nose, and I actually go a lot back and forth with the nose throughout the process. And ultimately I think it's for the worse, because I think I kind of just liked it when it was just nice and simple, but then I go a bit overboard later on. It's not too bad yet, but just you wait, it's gonna get a whole lot worse. Here the nose slowly starts getting a bit worse with this purple sort of color, and then I start shading the whole nose purple. I don't know why I did that, and then I put the blush color inside, so it looks really weird and like button nosy, but then I was like realizing my mistake and I was like, this is terrible, I need to fix it. So I kind of did. But yeah, I miss the old simple nose. And here I go mayhem on the eyes. I give them the biggest eye bags in the history of eye bags and put a lot of like this bluish purple shadows. And then I tried to fix the blush color because I felt like it was a little bit too much. And I give them even bigger eye bags, which I fix. And yeah, a lot of back and forth in this part of the process. Here I get back to the nose yet again, And here I think I kind of fixed it a little bit. I still miss the old nose, but this is better. And here I start on the eyes. First I decided on red because red is my favorite color, but then I was like no, and then I put it under the eyes, which didn't make any sense, so I took it away. I just really wanted to incorporate a really strong color because the other colors were so dull, and red's my favorite, so here it is. In the end I settled on red for like nosebleed, so a very bright red nose blood. Drawing nosebleeds is something that I really like doing actually. I don't know why, but it's in a lot of my drawings, strangely enough. But I didn't feel like the nosebleed was enough, so I tried to do some red blood from the eyes, but I thought that was dumb. And then I just quit for now and started on the eyes. And I think I settled on blue in the end, even though I go a little bit more back and forth. But here I felt like the light blue eyes looked a little bit creepy because they were lighter than the whites of the eyes. So I actually changed that later and changed the color of the whites of the eyes because it wasn't working out. Then I tried the red eyes again, but that's too much red and I don't like it. So I go for green, and then I was like, green's not it, and yeah. And this is where I decide to change the whites of the eyes into a more white color so that I can actually use a nice eye color that is not red. At this point I had enough of the eyes, so I decided to take a little highlight break where I just focus on the highlights. And then I go back to the eyes, and I still hadn't chosen a color, so I tried different ones and decided on this dark blue color. And then I zoom in and focus on the details. I tried to not zoom in all that much so you could see the whole drawing while I was drawing it, but here I finally zoom in so that I could focus a bit better on the eyes, and I gave her some nice luscious eyelashes. And when I finish that, I like to zoom out and spin it around. I don't know why I do that. I do that all the time when I'm drawing, but I try to refrain from it while drawing this so I wouldn't irritate anyone. Then I go around and draw some details. I fix the flesh part around the eyes, and then I made the whites more shiny and lovely, and yeah, and then I made the bases of the eyelashes more soft to give it more of a softer look. Zoom out, zoom in, and do some more detail work, and then I finally start on the eyes. I made pretty basic eyes for this one, so just a darker middle part of the eye and I clean it up a little, and then I put a little lighter spot inside the middle of the eye, and then I brighten the bottom part. Very simple, very easy types of eyes. And remember when I said that I wanted more red? Here it is. Here I put the red. This is where the red goes. This was pretty random and pretty like on the spot. I hadn't planned this, I just put it in there and I really liked it. And then I tried some red dots down underneath her eyes just to sort of contrast the red dots in her eyes, which I ultimately decided to take away. And then I was like, the eye plot again. And I was like, no, that's stupid. We've been through this. And then I did a little scar, and then I thought that was dumb, so I took it away. But then I thought, cheek blood, that's gonna work. That's gonna look good. And I put it on, and it didn't look good, so I took it away. So that was it for the red face. And then here I fixed the eye bags up because I wanted them to look a bit more like eye bags, so I gave it a clearer line underneath. And then I switched the pencil to Narinder pencil from the sketch section, and I put a bunch of little lines around the face. This is where it got experimental. This is what I sort of wanted to try out. This is what I wanted to do and see if I liked it. And I did like it. I think it's cool. And I just did that all around the face. It takes some time because this video is only sped up like 2x, you know, so it's not ultra super fast. And then I added these lines in the eyebrows as well, which I do think looks quite nice. And then I switched to the Spectra pencil again and made some hair, because I felt like there was a lot of space left on the face that wasn't being used, and I wanted to fill that space. So I did with some hair. I also ended up really liking this little lock of hair that I made that comes over her face. I think it adds a little something something, you know? I think it makes it a bit better. Then I tried to make it a bit more messy with some loose locks of hair, as you can see on the screen. And then comes the eye highlights. First, I was using both the wrong brush and also drawing it on assisted, which we don't want. And then I drew these highlights with the pencil that I used for the little lines in the face. And I made them sort of like open shines, so I didn't fill them in or anything like that. And I think that it looks really good. Then I wanted some more white details because I really liked how the highlights looked, and made some sort of tears on her face, tear shapes at least, that I think look really good. I'm really happy with those. And then I just shaded a little bit behind them, and then the drawing is pretty much done. Here is the final result. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Goodbye!